and gentlemen, welcome to the Alienware Arena Week 8 EU matchup between 4Violent and NajiTroopers. And geez Louise, is that a rapid transit I hear in my Skype?
You know what? I think it is, and hopefully you keep hearing me unrobotically and without event. No, we had some issues with that yesterday, but things look like they are going well today, and it actually looks like we have a couple of relatively evenly matched teams here.
Yeah, I was looking at these guys, and I mean, I saw a 2,000 rated, then I saw a 1,200 rated, and then I was like, okay, well,
Well, you know,
that
you got to
evens out.
balance it out.
Yeah, that evens out, not a problem. So yeah, week 8. This means that this should be either the last week or we only have one more week left in this actual season. And I've been told by the admins that we're looking to do the third place and finals games the second week of November, so November 8, 9.
All right, wow. So things are actually winding up here. It's been a little bit of a long season. I guess I remember when it started, and I never really thought we'd see an end to it. But it looks like here we are coming up on, I guess, the next to last week of the Alienware Arena Battlegrounds. So without further ado, it looks like everybody else is ready. Actually, no, Zaranaz says. He's looking for a little bit more time, but in the meantime, yeah, looks like this will be the EU portion of the broadcast. We got some North American broadcasts coming up for people across the pond a little bit later on, and should be really good to go. Let's see. Yes, you're on TV. That's pretty cool, but. Today's matchup will be 4Violent versus NajiTroopers, and you can see most of the 4Violent guys rocking that tag. I don't really think there's a NajiTrooper tag, although
Naji-kill.
Yeah, I guess that's about as close as you can get. But yeah, it looks like a lot of teams that have played together a fair amount, and so I think NajiTroopers are currently 28 and 17 with 1483 rating, whereas 4Violent's actually doing a little bit not quite up to par. I mean, they have a really high Twisted Tree Line rating, but with that map's recent changes, I don't know, have you gotten a chance to check those out?
I actually just patched up my public beta today, just before this game. It's like, alright, I could go play with that, or no, I can't. I gotta go do the Alienware stuff. I'm actually gonna check it out after this, but the positivity have been flowing from the people that have been checking it out. A lot of interesting new items coming to Twisted Tree Line, and then of course all the Season 3 changes keep getting detailed and detailed on the Riot forums, and you know what? We could have a very different game come Season 3.
I got a chance to play it minutes after it finished patching, and oh my goodness, like it's kind of a balancing as far as it's concerned. They just completely nerfed so many things. Ezreal's useless, DFG's useless, and then they put in these items that are just unbelievably, ridiculously good. Like, if you are a fan of playing Riven, for instance, or any AD caster, you just got like 4 or 5 items that make you God mode. It's so refreshing, so awesome to see. Not to mention the new Shadow Isles is so amazing to play. Looks beautiful, plays wonderfully, and it's just a really, really great thing to try out, especially now that you can play Elise the Spider Queen there too.
I don't know if you're wrestling with your mic or maybe just falling off, but yeah, I saw the stuff for Elise. I saw the Shadow Isles. I'm expecting a lot of good things this year from the Harrowing. So yeah, there's a lot of different changes coming to this. I don't know why, but Twisted Tree Line has always seemed like more of a spooky map to me rather than anything. And now with Elise the Spider Queen coming out to it and some of the screenshots of the actual terrain, I gotta say, it's only getting more frightening.
Man, and with the replacing of the dragon boss with this huge spider, it just feels so epic to take that thing down, acquire its buff, and there's also a couple of new altars to capture. Tons of stuff going on there. Really, really fun to play, at least for the time being. So, looks like we do have the players ready to go and should be able to get into this game pretty soon.
Yeah, they're saying they're ready, we're saying we're ready, which means we are just moments away from starting the ban process here for Week 8. Once again, we are here with 4Violent. Going to be here on your red team versus NajiTroopers, hosted by
And
that
here
Naji kill.
Yeah, I gotta love Naji Kill. He's kind of representing for his team, for his clan, and I guess looks like we have an honorable opponent in Shari. So it looks like we will have some good games here today. At least that is my hope. And really interested to see how these guys go into the picks and bans. I tell you, 4Violent reminds me a lot of the NA team 4-0, and
Yep, 4-0.
I guess they actually have a lot of EU teams as well in other different sports, but looks like the first ban coming out here will be Malphite for the NajiTroopers.
Yeah, Malphite very solid, especially with the rise of Orianna. You really gotta blame toys, Taipei assassins, bringing Orianna to light, and you know what? ChampionSelect.net virtually crashed as soon as Orianna won the World Championships, because so many people were like, alright, I want to play Orianna, I need to counter Orianna, she's going to be a 100% pick, and we saw that yesterday during our ESV TV stuff. I mean, she is just a huge champion, so yeah, ban out that Malphite. I can definitely see that working out well.
Definitely, especially because it combos so well with so many hard initiation strategies, and you just need that big guy that goes in there and picks up a lot of kills. That would be Malphite. And speaking of picking up a lot of kills, Evelyn and Jay span two super hard carries in their respective lanes, and both people who are getting hit with a little bit of a nerf bat in the next patch, but with Shen coming out here as well here for the NajiTroopers, so they're really looking to sort of help out that top lane, keep that away from all of its, you know, super OP top laners. And right as I say that, they pick Rengar, so apparently they just wanted to get rid of everything that's really good top lane except Rengar, and then pick that.
Yeah, Malphite, Evelyn, Shen all out, and then Jace Lee Sin on top of that. Although typically you will see a Lee Sin more in that jungle. But, you know, we were talking about those Season 3 changes coming up, and, you know, Freaky did this big consolidated post, I think it was just last night, and the first item on the list was League of Rengar. He is definitely going to be hit by that nerf bat. He's just too powerful in that top lane, but at the same time, Jace is also going to be getting a hit, so will Evelyn, and so will Ezreal. I think we're seeing a commonality here. A lot of these top picks and bans are getting the nerf bat.
Yeah, definitely will be feeling that on quite a few champions, actually. This is a comprehensive nerf patch, and I'm really kind of wishing that maybe they can include like a little bit of a silver lining to the cloud. I mean, great, it's great to be able to play with a lot of balanced champions, but it's always nice to feel some of the lesser used one get some love. But maybe we'll see that one a little bit later on. Have a couple more picks coming out. We got Amumu Graves for the purple team. Could be setting up for some AoE action, but could also be, I don't know, just looking for some solid CC and then a bottom lane pick there in Graves. But with a Maokai pickup here for NajiTroopers, I'm really liking that, just because when you have a heavy effective ganker, regardless of where you put Maokai, it's really going to help land the CC that's going to land a lot of kills here, possibly for Rengar, or even the Sivir pickup that they just grabbed.
Yeah, I mean, Sivir, as I said, you know, some of those more underplayed champions need to start coming back to that light, and Sivir, we've seen her on and off. We've seen some interesting builds, we've seen some typical just AD carries, but I'm very interested to see what NajiTroopers are thinking with Sivir. I mean, we have that Amumu there, so we can spell shield out that ultimate, and again, early aggression compared to that Maokai is just really not there. It's all about his level 6 and his synergy with his AP, because he does reduce on that magic resist. Going with a Sivir, I mean, she's not the most mobile of champions before 6. I mean, she does have that spell shield, but if you look at Corki, you look at Graves, you look at Caitlyn, all of them have movement displacers. We don't have that until that On the Hunt level 6 for Sivir, so she could be vulnerable to ganks.
Yeah, and I gotta say, one of the most impressive things I've ever seen, besides a lot of the jukes and CC avoidance that you can do on Sivir, popularized mostly by Captain Jack, I believe I was playing around my elo at like 1500 or so, and I watched a Sivir spell shield the Amumu bandage toss, and then cleanse his ultimate and just walk away from it. And I'm like, well, you pick Amumu because he has so much CC, and then it just doesn't even matter. So we'll see if Sivir opts to bring it like a cleanse this time with her, or if she goes for the more standard ignite, or possibly even like a heal to complement that lane. But it does look like the last couple picks for NajiTroopers are coming out, and we will have a Sona picked up to go with that Sivir in the bottom lane, as well as, just like you were talking about, there is going to be an Orianna.
Yeah, there we go, Orianna. 100% pick rate. Friggin' TPA, man, TPA. Ooh, could we see a support Morgana?
I love myself some support Morgana. I would love to see that just because when you do run support Morgana, that is the exact same spell shield that I was talking about. When you have a heavy initiation, and oh, that's also a really good thing to point out is that there will be an Alistar onto 4Violent. Now that could be a jungle Alistar, could be a support Alistar, but regardless, that is a lot of CC that is A, devastating, and B, blockable by that black shield. However, we will be going for the more standard Sona pickup here, just really strong in lane, mostly seen a lot with that Ezreal combination, but we'll be going along with Sivir here for NajiTroopers.
Well, Ezreal, of course, was banned out, so let's see. I mean, Sivir, she has her boomerang, she has her ricochet, she does have a lot of long reach, and I'm looking, you know, Sona typically synergizes very well with the poke comp, has a nice sustain, has a nice lane presence. Again, she's one of those champions getting nerfed in Season 3 as well. That apparently she's too durable for the role that she's able to do. That same with the Blitzcrank, but that's another separate issue. Either way, I see a little bit of a pokey comp in that bottom. I mean, Graves not the longest range, and of course Alistar does have to get there into that melee. So we're going to have to see what the NajiTroopers have up their sleeve up against this Graves Alistar, because I'm a little afraid of that Graves Alistar combo.
You know, I thought it was kind of interesting to note that they thought that a way to balance Sona would be to reduce her base stats. She already has the lowest base armor of any support in that bottom lane, which really hurts when you start getting DPS'd by the opposing AD carry. Although if they're actually attacking you, then your AD carry is, you know, safe to do whatever he wants, and that's pretty cool. But I don't know, reducing that even more is going to hit really hard. Although we will have to, you know, see exactly how that does work out. So in about 30 seconds, we're going to have everybody lock in, and at that point, we will be able to reveal who's going where. It's relatively evident already, but nothing is, you know, completely locked in. I have seen an AP meta Mumu that completely devastated its laning opponent, so not sure how you do that, but anything is possible here at the Alienware Arena Battlegrounds, so it'll be interesting to see what these teams come out with.
AP Amumu with a Hex Tech, or even just a Will of the Ancients. Definitely try it out in Murder Bridge, guys. It is a very fun time. Without a little bit of armor with, of course, you can't go glass cannon, but it is, you can get some pretty surprising results. Alright, so they are locked in. Away goes the summoner spells, and as you might guess, Maokai in that jungle, Mumu in the jungle, and yeah, support Alistar. It has been a while since we have seen an Alistar. He's typically in that ban list, but he didn't make it today, as a lot of those others. So, you know, could be a revival of the alley. I'm still afraid for the Sivir Sona lane.
Yeah, Sivir is really going to have to block the right spells at the right time. I think that's one of the things that excuse me, you really have to watch out for as Sivir is which spells you block with that spell shield. If you block the headbutt when Alistar comes in, you're not going to move, but at the same time, you're going to get hit by that pulverize. So it's really key with the micro to get hit by the headbutt and then spell shield the pulverize instead, so that you can then just get walk away and have Alistar kind of help you out with that headbutt. So it'll be interesting to see how that bottom lane goes, but I'm really interested to watch this Maokai Rengar interaction in that top lane. Maokai super strong ganker, and then Rengar just tons and tons of damage, even if he doesn't have Trinity Force, which some of the Rengars do go for. It's just so such a strong combination. I would have even liked to see a Zillion mid, because the Zillion Rengar combination is completely and utterly ridiculously imbalanced. It's just like there's nothing fair about that, and just no, it's just it makes me so angry but so happy at the same time.
So I'm taking a quick look at runes and masteries around the place. Check out Alistar. His runes, pure armor, pure magic resist. That's all his runes are. Plus 40 armor by the time he's 18, plus 36 or so magic resist. And then his mastery is actually split of defensive as well as a utility, all the way down to the extra starting gold. So he's just literally going pure tank. No movement speed, no penetrations, just all tank.
Wow, that's really interesting mastery tree. I love seeing when people split between the mastery trees rather than just the standard 921 in different categories. I've seen a lot of really effective builds like that. I think Wings of Death has a really awesome Aurelia guide that explains which masteries are good, why, and how to get them all at the same time. And I think he goes 9, 10, 14, and it's just or 9, 14, 10, I think it is. However that works out. I'm sure that doesn't add up to 30, but I cannot do math on the spot. Just really awesome to see players come out with a little bit of a non-standard take on the way to do mastery pages. You can see he gets not only the gold per 5 from that, but also pretty much every defensive stat in the game. Missing out on a little bit of that initiator move speed from further down in the defensive tree, but combining that with his runes and masteries will give him really, really strong tank stats in that bottom lane. So even if he doesn't have that easy of a lane, he'll still be able to scale really hard with those defensive stats. And it does look like we are in the game, and my screen will turn white for a second, but we should get into the skin war here pretty soon.
Alright guys, so remember, best of 1. This is all for the money. 4Violent versus NajiTroopers, and the winner of course does get that ratings. This is the last week of the season, which means we will have an announcement somewhere soon on the Alienware Arena website about the top finalists for both EU as well as NA, and the casting should be done for that. It's about November 8th, November 9th, sometime that week. I will of course have more information for you on my Twitter and my Facebook, and of course the Alienware site itself. But we need to know who's going to get there first, which means we have ourselves a game, Mr. Rapid. What do we got for the skins?
Well, as far as skins are concerned, we have Festive Maokai and Bladecraft Orianna coming out for the NajiTroopers. On the other side, we will have that followed up by Almost Prom King Amumu with my favorite skins, Riot Graves, Unchained Alistar, and Angler Jax. Not a common skin we see for Jax, so looks like we have an early advantage already for 4Violent.
I'm a little saddened that we have 3 Pax skin combinations there, and none of them actually took it. Pax Severe, Pax Sona, Pax Jax. I gotta say, I own them all and I love them all. It's Pax or go home, baby. It's Pax or go home.
Pax is pretty awesome, and the skins they come out with are absolutely amazing. Especially loving the Pax Twisted Fate, as he just got a recent graphical rework. But we are already here in the game. NajiTroopers will be your bottom left team, spawning down there on the blue side, going up against members of 4Violent, which of course will be, by process of elimination, your red team on the upper right side of Summoner's Rift.
And I believe that the scoreboard is up and working, which means the overlay is good to go. And yes, welcome guys to the game. I had to fix my sound settings because I was playing with them yesterday and I shouldn't have, but it is all good. Now, looking at these items, actually speaking of that, I'm going to rearrange the scoreboard, so it's all yours, Mr.
Awesome. Well, as far as the items are concerned, exactly the same across the board, literally completely identical pickups on both teams. You got boots and potions for everybody but the sports, and the sports picking up Fairy Charm, 4 wards, and health potions. So it does look like, as far as both teams' early level 1 strategies are concerned, you got defensive starts all across the board. The NajiTroopers clumped up guarding that blue buff from Maokai, something he really needs, and then Amumu also really dependent on his blue buff. So because we have two junglers that are so dependent on those early buffs, it looks like we're just going to see a little bit more of a passive start to the game.
Yeah, what 4Violent is doing is what I call the neural net. They're looking at every single opening into their base. Every single opening is covered there, so they're going to instantly know anytime that somebody's going to come into those areas, they're going to be there, and they should have more than enough, warning to run away. That being said, you also don't have to put down that early ward, but of course, once the game starts, you lose the vision.
Yeah, now we will see a 4th potion picked up there on Jax. He's going to have a little bit of an advantage in lane over Rengar, except that Rengar has the advantage of being Rengar, which means that he starts out with 25 potions and 8 chain vests in only 6 item slots. So that makes him pretty strong when he starts the game, and continues to just get that much more strong. But really going to be watching this middle lane, Diana versus Orianna. I feel like there's a lot of interesting counterplay and really a skill matchup between those two guys. It'll be really interesting to see which one of those comes out on top, with varying jungle pressure, of course.
Now, did we start off with those golems? I do think we did. Nope. Actually, I lied. We didn't start those golems. They're still there. So, Naji killed phase. That was an opportunity for them to get a little bit more ahead in this lane and get that quick level 2. You have a small window of opportunity to try and level 2 gank coordinated with your jungler before your opponents actually hit 2, but it does not look like that's going to be on the table today. So, yeah, business as normal. Maokai, finish up blue. Wolves, Amumu already hitting that red, so slight advantage to the enemy jungler.
Man, Maokai is absolutely tearing through his jungle. Has the most CS in the game at 12, 13 right now, and is just going to keep making that higher and higher. Already top lane, you can see Babalov is just walking into the brush, getting that leap over and over again on Chari, and there's no counter to that because as long as Rengar has a skill up, he's going to outtrade his opponents. So already you can see Jack starting to burn through those health potions, and I can tell you one more combo with an Ignite is going to mean that's one dead Jax, but health potions burning on both sides, and a failed gank mid will mean that things stay relatively uneventful for now.
Now, again, Maokai is a champion we've been seeing more and more and more of in these higher elos because that twisted advance doesn't matter if you flash after he gets it on top of you. He's going to be following in, and wow, that was like the longest range bandage I've ever seen come out there from Amumu, but is it going to be the kill for Bob? No. No kill for Bob.
Are you kidding me?
16 hit points on Pixel Pro. Had to burn at that flash, but hey, it was worth it. First blood being drawn out by 4Violent.
Yeah, now Babalov had everything he needed there, but I feel like, I mean, maybe if he had like microed a little closer to the enemy team, maybe if he had just like tried to walk away instead of getting the kill, that might have been a better option, but just had to go for it, and unfortunately that is the way the cookie crumbles. And I think as interesting as players like iBot's Alistar page bottom lane, we could have seen just as interesting a defensive page there on Amumu that may have just had that one or two runes that allowed him to make it out of that situation alive. And I love it when that happens because that just goes to show you how important the way you set up your character is and the differences that it can make. Obviously, Amumu pretty happy with the setup that he chose.
Definitely got to be, yeah, very happy with that. 1-0, no death, and hey, he gets the assist. Bingo bango, that's all he needs. Now, Jax up top decided not to go back to town. He still only has those boots, so if he doesn't head back anytime soon, he's going to get overpowered by that extra item on Rengar. But look at this, Pixel Pro with that red and blue comes all the way down to the bottom lane. iBot is going to be advancing. There's no coverage in this bush, so he could have made a really good attack right there on top of Severe. Kind of sad that he didn't, but it looks like the sad little Mumu is going to rock away. He was spotted out by the ward, which is why we're playing so defensive. And yeah, business as normal. Things will move on.
Yeah, now you can tell Sivir's dropping a little bit low on mana, so she's going to be looking to spell shield one of these moves coming down here, and I think that with the minion wave at the turret, Graves will be starting to try to harass with that buckshot, but does not look like they're actually going to take that option. They're just backing away, playing it safely and cautiously, and I think that that's actually the right choice because they didn't have any ward coverage. Now with that ward placed by iBot in the opposing tri-bush, 4Violent's really going to start to lay on the pressure here as they can really push up uncontested. However, I think really what we need to focus on is this top lane with already a disadvantage here for Rengar and a whole Doran's Blade up. Actually, no, Rengar went back and picked up his own second Doran's Blade, so everything even as far as items are concerned, but Babalov actually doing really well after getting a really rough early game death there to that Amumu gank.
Oh, could have been a misplay right there. That Flowbob going in for the twisted advance on top of this bot lane, but oh, he just got so low under that tower. Very excellent defensive maneuverings here from 4Violent. Is going to be able to defeat that gank, and we're still looking for that first kill on the NajiTroopers. Now, we do have Pixel Pro back up top. Doesn't have that Philosopher's Stone. Went to the Heart of Gold, so he's looking for that extra hit points. Be just that much beefier for these ganks, but the problem is his mana regeneration is absolutely terrible.
Yeah, and so that's going to make that really hard to do. You can see Rengar top lane just building up his Fury, completely decked, and he's actually going to see Pixel Pro there, Pixel Pro will see him. He's going to actually piece on it out of there, leaving Chari up top lane by himself with a full Fury Rengar. That's going to be kind of rough to deal with for him, but meanwhile, middle lane seems relatively even, although you can see Zaraniaz coming out with a little bit of an early CS lead, nothing too crucial. Bottom lane, a lot of heavy trading back and forth, but a miss pulverized by Alistar will mean that Sever will be alive for just a little bit longer.
Yeah, just a little bit. 7:20 on the dot. Blue buff is coming up. You can see that Orianna already making her way over. Chari dropping a little bit low to the Babalov, and it does look like Amumu's getting in position to give out to Diana. So overall, I mean, everything seems to be pretty standard. In terms of the creeps, however, you can see a little bit of a disparity. It looks like overall, NajiTroopers is winning every lane for those last hits.
Yeah, especially winning the support lane, having 1,000% more Not really. You can't really compare that. I'm not
Zero
sure, but
zero.
both supports are exactly as bad at CSing as they should be. So that's always something reassuring to note. Looks like middle lane we could have a little bit of a gank. Blue buff actually on a Mumu. Strangely enough, not sure if that was taken intentionally or not, but Mumu will be wearing that right now. Looking for a gank here on Zarniaz. I'm going to pronounce that correctly one of these days, but really it's just safe passive play there from Orianna, keeping her not only safe from the Amumu gang, but just able to farm it up and continue to solidify that CS lead for the NajiTroopers.
Well, we should have a ping on top of Pixel right now because we do have that river warded. I'm fairly sure he's aware of that as well, so he's just going to head back up to the jungle. He might come around in for a lane gank, and I think giving Amumu the blue was not a mistake. I mean, Diana, sure, she has to go up against a blue buff Orianna, but I mean, we don't have any mana regen on that Amumu. It's kind of really vital if he wants to keep ganking that he gets some kind of regen. Now he doesn't have 6. Look at this. He's looking for that 6. They're waiting for that 6. No, they're not. They're going to jump right here into phase. Blind bandage right there onto Sona, but Sona with the crescendo is going to able to restart that. Their shockwave only going to hit that Alistar. A little bit of a misplay there, but even Maokai down here, Vengeful Maelstrom not going to do it, but that will be the first kill to Zarniaz for the NajiTroopers.
And such a perfect counter gank. Having Orianna already in position was just so key to that counter gank. You can just see that's command shockwave coming out absolutely massively. And now we do actually have Pixel Pro at level 6, so combining that with Kramer coming in here for 4Violent, they could actually make a pretty strong play here on a dragon. Maokai dropping a little bit low there. We'll have to smite that. Does so successfully. Looking for positioning for that Amumu ult, and as phase drops a little bit lower, drops that Ignite, or the Exhaust rather, onto Kramer. We're going to have 4Violent just back off there, and so that will be a win, a victory, and a dragon here for NajiTroopers. So pulling ahead in the gold count by a couple thousand gold. Not top lane. Chari getting so low, and will we see Babalov go in for this? Oh my goodness, he's not going to be able to get the... Yes, he will.
Oh, he got the kill, but he's going to die to the Ignite. But the reason I went, oh, is because he fail flashed over the wall. He was down below the turret on the south edge of the trees, and he fail flashed north for the kill.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, great. He got the kill. Excellent job, Babalov, showing that Rengar strength top under the turret, was able to grab it, but it could have been so much smoother, even living out of that one, if that flash had actually not failed.
Yeah, that would have been pretty cool. Middle lane, a little bit of extra harassment going on from Kramer onto Zarniaz, and I think that with that Ignite down, it actually favors Babalov a little bit, because that's going to allow him to continue dropping that burst heal whenever he needs to. But it looks like Rengar's Ignite will come up about 30 seconds sooner, and so that's going to be... What is FaZe doing?
FaZe was phase checking. Yeah, that's what he was doing. Oh, wasted collateral damage there at the end, as the kill did go to Ibot Alistar, but that's okay. Kill's a kill. 90 seconds without the collateral damage between the three of them. They should be able to shove this right into the lane. But at the same time, I'm looking at this very curiously. Najikill has red buff.
So Sona, FaZe is actually saying, I know why you didn't make it to prom, king. You're lurking in bushes. Doesn't get you the ladies, man. So... yeah, Pixel Pro needs to maybe work on his lady fighting strategy, or else he'll never quite make it there. But he's doing the same thing again, so he obviously learned from his lesson and figured out that killing people was better than finding his soulmate. So unless he can find a soulmate here in a robot, I'm not sure exactly how that works, but I'm sure there's going to be a PopCap game based off of robots and mummies, and I'm going to be paying it and playing it a lot on my... Yeah, except with robots. I mean, what more could you want? I guess what you could want is a little bit more action here in this bottom lane, as it's kind of just like farm, somebody explodes, farm, and then it looks like we got top lane, Pixel Pro coming up here onto Babalov. He's level 10, so he's just gonna ult out of there, and that's going to make, it's just the Rengar right there, he's just gonna go in there. Will he be able to pick up the kill? No, the dodge is too strong. The flash out from Chari will keep him alive, but in a 2v1 situation, you can see that Rengar just does not care. He's like, I can actually kill you both probably right now if you just stay here instead of running away from me. Appears that Rengar has a little bit in common there with that Amumu. No friends.
No friends. Yeah, now this could be very bad news for the tower, but instead Babalov's just going to go right behind it, deny the next creep wave, or maybe thinking better of it. It's like, okay, I don't think that's actually going to work. A good bandage coming out there from Pixel just to try to keep him under that tower, but Babalov is pretty solid at this point. I mean, he has the double Dorans, the necklace, and now almost an entire Phage. So he's looking pretty on top of things. He actually came out ahead on that 2 versus 1 because they had to use both flashes in order to get in and get out, whereas, well, his wasn't even up.
Yeah, exactly. And Kramer was even waiting there, coming up from the middle lane to do a counter gank, but Rengar just backed off at exactly the right time, and it was able to go back to base, picked up that Phage, and then actually no, he didn't pick up the Phage. He went for Ninja Tabe instead. I'm actually pretty confused by that because the only reason he was not in any danger of dying from that last engagement, the only thing that he had to worry about was massive CC dropped on him from the stun coming out from not only Amumu but also from that Jax stun. And I'm not sure why he didn't get Mercury Treads because really in that situation, those would have allowed him to pick up that kill as he would have gotten out of both CCs 35% faster. It looks like Maokai getting spotted out there. Does have Oracle, so was able to clear out all the wards in the top lane, but Jax had not placed down his ward, so he's still going to have that to keep himself safe for now.
Now, it does look like Pixel Pro finally does have that Philosopher's Stone. He's going to give away that blue to his mid, as he should. AP mids are always very thankful to have their blues. And, you know, the only reason I can think that he's going for that Ninja Tabi top is simply because that's what Chari has. That extra movement speed, he doesn't want to risk having another kill being able to get away from him due to the movement speed and fail flashes. So that's about the only thing I can really posit to that, but it's his choice, obviously. We have to respect it. So.
Absolutely, that's a great thing about League of Legends. You can argue about builds and characters and champions and counters until you're blue in the face, but ultimately, if you can win with whatever you think is best, then nobody can argue with that. I mean, that's kind of the end-all, be-all of veracity, as it looks like our Orianna taking double columns bottom lane. That's a first for me. Usually you see those taken by the bottom lanes themselves, but Orianna just running around. This could be the evolution of Froggen's The Jungle is My Jungle too, as first it was Wraith camps, then it was Wraiths and Wolves, and now possibly even Double Golems falling prey to the mid laner as they just continue to reach incredible farm statuses, although it does look like relatively even starts here for the mid lanes as they are both around 110 CS.
Yeah, 110, but the rest of them, looking at the junglers, I mean, 79 to 52, Maokai definitely been more active in the jungle, but we do got 2 assists to the 1 on that Amumu, and now that could change right here. Twisted advance coming in, the Arcane Smash not quite landing on that Graves, but Amumu is in here as well. He's not crying, however. That could be a little bit of a misclick. There's this ultimate, but it's not going to be enough to save Dark Succubus as he does drop, and it looks like finally, 0-0-2, Maokai coming out, tying out that Amumu. Very powerful stuff.
Absolutely, and I really feel like in that, if Amumu had ulted like a second earlier, then I think that Graves would have been able to live that, but WTF low Bob, I'm working on pronouncing that more fluidly, but he's actually did a really good job at coming in just at the time where they were most vulnerable to that Sona Crescendo. Did a really great job at being right there, but it looks like this two-man dragon attempt could get prevented here as Alistar and Diana to try to walk in on that. They're going to drop the ward and then come in when Dragon is a little bit lower. There comes out the Q. WTF low Bob exploding immediately from all of that Dragon damage. And then looks like Alistar will go down here to Orianna, who's going to come back into the fight, but with no mana. NajiTroopers is actually a little bit out of position. Now there's 3 members of 4Violent here. They're going to be able to take this down easy peasy, and that will actually be a reverse Dragon there taken by 4Violent.
Yeah, 2-man squad definitely not doing what it needs to. Is going to get off that buckshot on top of Naji, saying, you can't go home. While all this was happening, Babalov takes the tower top, but it's going to pay for it with his life. Chari able to capitalize upon a kill there. That's not going to be helping those bone necklaces whatsoever. And in fact, you know, Rengar has actually set that 1-3 as opposed to the 3-1 of Jax. So all that Amumu babysitting has really paid off for the Jax. That being said, he is ridiculously underfarmed compared to that Rengar.
Well, yeah, but he does have that Bilgewater Cutlass, which made it, I mean, pretty much just was the signed, sealed, and delivered kill there. I waited until Rengar was under that turret, knew he was going to go for the turret, and then had awesome positioning, followed up by the slow there from that Bilgewater. Just so incredibly strong, able to go ahead, pick up that kill as Rengar just could not run away. I mean, the strange thing is he had his ultimate available, but he didn't use it to escape from that situation. So without that turret, there was no stealth detection. He could have just ulted and then walked away, even though it was a dangerous situation. Would have been able to survive, and it looks like he will be going for that Trinity Force. First off, getting a little bit of AP because, of course, as we all know from the early days of AP Rengar, Battle Roar, pretty good skill with that ability power, but it looks like Bobbleub will be able to continue farming this up. I really like to see this out of Rengar. He's down, but he's not out. He's going to be able to continue his CS advantage, and even though he's down in kills, he's going to be able to at least stand toe-to-toe now. But bottom lane, Dark Succubus getting completely destroyed. Najikill trying to run out of there, but just getting caught in barely the edge of the ultimate there, flashing, but will it be enough? He's going to take a lot of damage. Maokai coming in there. Looks like Ibot will go down. Could we claim the life of Kraber? Even still, it looks like the Twisted Advance just now coming off of cooldown. Is going to get the exhaust, save it for the last second. Going to go in there. Arcade smash backwards. Wow, a killing spree coming out from Zarniaz as 3 kills picked up there in the bot lane for NajiTroopers.
Yeah, but Zarniaz threw out that command shockwave just way too late, completely missing either target. Was able to pick up that return kill. And, I was looking at the bot, I was like, they're going really offensive. Then I noticed that, the rest of the team's coming down, so I thought it was a bait, but it really wasn't a bait. Dark Succubus just actually ended up dying before the cavalry could even come into the equation. So again, we talked a little bit about the Severe versus the Graves matchup, and I was a little afraid for the Sona Severe combination, but looking at it now, 214 and 135 creeps over top of that Graves opponent, Severe is actually doing really good.
Yeah, and meanwhile, while all that action was going on bottom lane, you had Bobbleob walk into the enemy jungle and take away that red buff from them. So he is going to be so strong. Does an immense amount of damage. You can already see Jax just kind of walking away from that. Doesn't want anything to do with that Rengar. Just even though he's down in kills, Bobbleob's so strong in that top lane. And now Jax checking it out, seeing, yeah, that's our red buff. And good guy Rengar didn't leave any small camps after the red buff, but that does mean you will have the respawn timer. And already Diana, you can see starting to roam around, looking to make a play somewhere, or possibly, yeah, there we go, just warding things up. And Oracle is actually on Pixel Pro, so he's actually gone for a little bit more of a defensive option, and possibly even going for an early Randuin's Omen, because he knows at some point or another Rengar will one-shot him unless he has even more armor.
You need health, you need armor. Things are like these are crucial, especially against those insta-kill bots later on into the game. Bobbleob, But he does have that phage, Mr. Bobbleob. He doesn't. It looks like he's actually slowed down a bit. 20 minutes in, only has the phage part of what I can only assume is the Trinity Force. He has the amplifying to him right now, but he's coming mid for that gank. There's the shockwave, and there's the burst we were talking about. Down goes Diana without even a fight.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, they're just not even close. I mean, there was a green ward there, so you can't blame Diana, but when Rengar stealth ganks you, it's just like, well, yes, I really should have done what happened bottom lane. There's the last ricochet. Will actually catch Grave from downtown at long range for a double kill. Pixel Pro actually could go down here. Sivir taking it up and a triple kill. That's what happens when you gank a Sivir Sona. You just die immediately. NajiKill picking up the triple in a 2-on-3 situation.
Yep, that was pretty impressive stuff. Always saw when I panned down here with the camera is that Alistar looking really low, didn't even throw down his ultimate for the damage reduction. The Unbreakable Will still able to pop. We had no collateral damage come out from Graves either. He just kind of, he did use that flash to try to get away, but once that ricochet is in motion, there's no stopping it, just like that Maokai Twisted Advance that we've been seeing more and more of. And Pixel Pro just, he thought he was coming down to help, but after his two teammates melted away, that almost Prom King gets second place yet again.
Did you know you can actually stop Twisted Advance if somehow you can get in excess of 2,000 range between yourself and Maokai? You'll just stay there in the spinning animation and then stop once you reach that 2,000 range. It's the same ranged barrier for the Nautilus depth charge. It just fizzles when you're that far away. I think you can do it with like Ghost and Teleport, and once again we see the same exact combo. Rengar stealth ganking middle lane, Zarniaz just completely devastating her with the help there from Babalov in that top lane, and that's just what happens when you go ahead and take that top turret. Babalov actually flashing out. He does not think he has what it takes to take down Shari. Now Pixel Pro has come up here, and it looks like Alistar here as well. There's the bandage toss landing onto Babalov. We will see the damage reduction aura come out from that Maokai, but will WTF Low Bob actually be able to stop it? Yes, he will. Saves the life of poor Mr. Rengar there and allows him to become a bloodthirsty murderer even more.
You know, I was saying that he looked like he was slowing down on that Trinity Force, and then a kill later he has it. So maybe he was just saving up. I actually did not look at the actual gold, but now Dragon down. They are still missing that Diana mid. Chari's going to go in here, though, and flash right back on out of it. Decided that was a terrible idea. Great crescendo coming out, landing on top of 3 members of the 4Violent crew, and that is going to be another 3 kills to their name. You know, we have started this off with maybe that bad first blood, but now at a score of 15-6 and out CSing their opponents, NajiTroopers is looking very strong this mid game.
And really, getting kills is cool and all, but you have to be consistent. They do have items, well, both teams actually do, but there we go, another Twisted Advance into Command Shockwave. Diana explodes, the tower goes down, and everything going right so far for NajiTroopers. They just kept in it. They didn't, wow, that Wraith Camp. Yep. It just exploded. I don't even know. They could actually honestly do Baron right now. No contest.
Very likely they could have, but Severe had already gone back down south. She looks like she wants to farm up a bit more. In terms of the creeps, you know, she is really behind that Orianna, but Orianna with an Athens as well as that Rabadon's at 24 minutes, she's just one-shotting creep waves with her combination, plus the blue and the Chalice. I mean, that's a lot of mana regeneration, a lot of cooldown reduction. So Sivir, I mean, she has the 6 kills. She's right there on par, just looking to get a little bit more cash, but Sivir also, you know, it does look like more of a standard AD carry build. She's actually going to get a second BF sword. What do you think, Black Cleaver, Infinity Edge?
I would hope Infinity Edge. She needs, well, she doesn't really need anything right now. She's 6-1 with 185 CS, so she can do whatever she wants. I would have gone for a Last Whisper, just because you do have armor to go up against. You have the armor being built by Alistar, not to mention his runes. You have the Randuins and cloth armor on Amumu, so there's going to be some pretty beefy targets that you need to get through. I would have gone for Last Whisper. Sivir says, no, why don't I just build more damage to kill things with? That's actually going to be pretty effective in its own right. Babalov just kind of doing the ring around the rosy with the rest of 4Violent, and now FaZe joining him are on a little bit of the wrong side of the team. Pings going off onto Orianna mid lane. Zarniaz in danger, but with 4Violent standing on top of a very well placed ward. Looks like the danger will in fact be to bottom lane, as Babalov with that Oracle's actually on will be scouting out there for wards with 6 stacks on his Bone Tooth necklace. That's going to help him out, giving him 25% movements, or 25 extra movement speed, 10 armor penetration, and 5% cooldown reduction. Just grouping up back up with the rest of his team, and spots out another ward. So man, this Rengar is definitely MVPing it up, and even though he's 3-3-4, it has assisted with almost every single one of Orianna's kills, so that's actually really good to note. And now it looks like at long last they will be going for that Baron buff.
Yep, there it is, Baron. I mean, we got 2 oracles there. We have absolutely no vision, but we do have a ping coming down. 4Violent suspects what's going on, but they're going to keep walking into these wards, and something that we haven't seen 4Violent come out with since the first death is going to be that oracles. Look at that command shockwave landing huge damage on top of 3 members of the 4Violent crew, and wow, Rengar just absolutely blowing people up. Down goes that Alistar and the Diana. We got what the flow bob up here, just trying to keep everyone in range. We do got that Baron buff on top of him, but he is just so tanky, does not care. Look at that collateral damage, no problem. He just bounces it off his chest, man modes it up, but still only 2 kills and that Baron. This should be a very devastating push. I'm not going to say it's going to be the game-ending push, but definitely a devastating one.
Now, if 4Violent could have held off things at that turret, that would have tried to at least begin to change the game. But the way we've seen teams come back, if they do, is by catching the other team off guard. Now, with that inhibitor down, that means that it's going to keep 4Violent in their own base, and that's really going to limit their opportunities to do that. They're going to have to win a fight at some point, and they really haven't done that so far this game. They've had a little bit of favorable trades in that bottom lane, got first blood top lane, but after that, things really kind of stagnated for them as Rengar really started to hit his stride, ganking every lane, picking up so much CS. He's up at 231, 232. There we go. He just hit the top CS in the game, almost doubling a lot of the people on 4Violent. I mean, you can see Amumu really hurting for CS. He's only sitting at 79. That's actually something that Riot's starting, or at least pledging to fix with junglers, taking them away from those purely support jungle skill, skill builds with a lot of gold per fives. Because you can see Amumu, without actually the opportunity to get a lot of his jungle, is really kind of hurting right now. I mean, he only has that Randuin's Omen Mercury treads and is really going to start to get blown up here as he starts taking these damage from advanced items like Orianna. 6 and 0 has another needlessly large rod for 562 AP. You're gonna need a Negatron cloak versus that.
Yeah, it is not looking good whatsoever for 4Violent. Definitely on the back foot, triple the kills. They're down about 15,000 gold, and across the board, losing out on those CS numbers. Now, that being said, again, it does look like Sivir is going to go for that Infinity Edge, and you know, I kind of feel that a Black Cleaver probably would have done just as well. It's attack speed, it's armor shred, and it synergizes excellently with the Phantom Dancer, On the Hunt, all those kind of different modifiers. But that being said, of course, Infinity Edge, and there she goes. She picks it up right there. 717 double BF sword items at 29 minutes. She is an absolute monster at 350 attack damage.
Now this is 4v5, but Graves getting caught out there, almost entirely one-shot. Jax jumps in. This actually could be a really good fight for 4Violent. You can see Zardiaz actually getting out of there alive, but unfortunately, Pixel Pro, Succubus, Kramer, and Shari just blow up as Bobolov jumps in there, rips off their heads, gets more trophies for his Bone Tooth Necklace, and there's the ace as he crushes down onto Alistar with 5 men down here for 4Violent. It's not looking good for the rest of their base as the rest of the NajiTroopers push in, and yeah, they're just saying they don't even need an AD carry. They just walk straight into your base, and that Infinity Edge, as useful as it is going to be even more useful at taking down these Nexus turrets and the Nexus to follow, as the rest of the NajiTroopers will pick up their game over 4Violent and win.
Very powerful mid-game tactics coming out from NajiTroopers, and again, across the board, I mean, sure, they had excellent CS skills, but it's all about those kills. 808 Orianna, thank you very much, Toys from TPA, for bringing this champion to light. But overall, it just looked like a very crushing defeat. One of the key problems here, Graves 052, not even a kill to his name. When you get to this stage of the game, if you don't have a little bit of oomph behind your AD carry, then he just kind of fizzles, pops, and dies.
Exactly, and he was forced to pick up that chain vest, further limiting his damage output. He picked up an Infinity Edge, but nothing after that, as Bill just stalled out, and he really wasn't able to accomplish much. Didn't even have any lifesteal, so that's a little bit rough, especially when you are in those long, prolonged, drawn-out team fights. And I just gotta say, everyone on the NajiTroopers, with the exception of Bobolov, has that CLGEU logo, so maybe channeling their inner skills in that respect, whereas pretty much just regular champion logos, and then an Azubu Frost there for 4Violent. So that will do it for our game for today. For the EU coverage of the Alienware Arena Battlegrounds, it will be NajiTroopers picking up the 1-0 victory over 4Violent.
It was a good game overall. Definitely very enjoyable. Not a complete stomp, but 30 minutes into the game, we got that those double aces pretty much going, and was able to seal the deal. So, yep, congratulations to NajiTroopers getting themselves their last win of the season. Not quite so for 4Violent, but we should have all the tallies ready for the finals and the third place. Again, stay tuned to Alienware Arena website, as well as my Twitter Twitter, my Facebook, all that for all the announcements about when the championship streams will be, but they should be about that second week of November. That being said, I'm the FourCourtJester. You can find me Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. With me, Rapid Transit 24/7. Where can people find you, dude?
Well, you can check me out, like you see right up there above, at Rapid Transit 24/7 on Twitter. If you want to follow me on Facebook, it's facebook.com/rapidcasting, and then I'll post links to all of my stuff everywhere along there. I do have a wonderful YouTube channel where I post high elo scripts between the top teams, North America, Europe, and Southeast Asia, so definitely go check that out if you are interested in that. But mostly just the Twitter, where you can find both FourCourtJester and I, as well as Alienware, where you can let them know exactly how much you love watching the Alienware Arena Battlegrounds. We'll be back a little bit later on tonight for the North American Battlegrounds, but just stay tuned to all of FourCourtJester stuff, my stuff, everything that you want, so that you can be informed about when we're going to go live with that. And yeah, just make sure to come back next week and check out even more action from the Alienware Arena Battlegrounds as we do close in on our finals.
Alright guys, take care, we'll see you in a few hours, and of course, enjoy your League of Legends.